good people of YouTube? Mountbatten here, and today we have another installment in the A Look Back At series. So for those of you that don't know, the A Look Back At series is where I take a premium that was released, it could be 2 years ago, 3 years ago, could have been one of the first premiums released in the game, and we look at it in today's World of Warships. We look at how it has either adapted or been power crept to the current iteration of World of Warships and see how well it has fared. So today we have the Tier 8 Premium Italian battleship, the Roma. The Roma was pretty hotly requested last week and has also been requested because of the addition of the Commander rework. And of course, one certain skill that we all know and love has had a huge impact on this ship. But before we get there, we're going to run through some basic stats of the Roma, and then I will talk about what it's like to play her nowadays and how she has been affected by the Commander rework. So the Roma was the second Italian battleship to be added into the game behind the Giulio Cesare at Tier 5, except she's of course at Tier 8. Some key features of her is that she has some fantastic frontal armor. She has an armor strip that comes up about halfway up her bow arm, a nice 130 millimeter plate, which means if you angle that cheek plate correctly and get people to shoot at that plate and your belt, you will simply bounce just about everything in the game, including the Shikishima, of course, if you angle correctly. So from the front, she's very tough. She also has some very nice turret angles. Her third turret can get around and shoot forward with, just at the optimum angle for you to be angled with that cheek plate that she does have. She has 65,400 hit points with 38% torpedo damage reduction, and her main battery guns consist of 9 381mm 15-inch guns, and these are some... Her guns are her strongest suit and also her weakest suit, because these guns are absolutely freaking screaming at 850 meters a second, which is great for shooting well-armored targets. However, of course, when you shoot not so armored targets like light cruisers and destroyers and, heck, even heavy cruisers and even some battleships too, the shells simply go straight through. Now, that wouldn't be a bad thing because you could just, of course, aim for the more well-armored parts of the ship and absolutely frickin' wreck their day. And when cruisers do angle, rather than bouncing these 15-inch guns, a lot of times you will simply just crap on them with how great the pins are, because when they angle, the armor is now effectively thick enough for the shell to go through, arm, and detonate on the inside of the ship. But, of course, her guns are terribly, terribly inaccurate. She is an absolute shotgun. I mean, worse than the Germans. Worse than the Germans before they even got their buff. The Roma made the GK look like a Slava. I'm not even joking. That's how bad the Roma's dispersion is. However, from close range, it's good enough because you're going to hit pretty much whatever you're aiming at under 10 kilometers, unless RNG just really hates you. And this is, of course, where deadeye comes into play, but we'll get back on that later. AA, she has okayish AA. I thought it would have been pretty nice since she actually served most of her career in World War II as an AA barge for her to have actually decent AA, but she doesn't really. Maneuverability is another high point for this ship. She's a top speed of 31.5 knots with a speed flag and a pretty quick rudder shift time of 15.6 seconds. Not blazing fast, but the ship does handle very well. I do like that. And concealment's another high point for her. With the skill and the module, you can get her concealment down to 11.7 kilometers by sea, which is absolutely freaking fantastic. So back in the day, it was, okay, you need to get close into the target to really have any chance of really affecting them, but you, of course, have 11.7 kilometer concealment to where you could at least make it work. And this is, of course, pre-CV rework. So there weren't too many CVs around, so she was okay back then, but the guns were a big letdown. And overall, what I've said about the ship before is I love every aspect of it. The armor's great, just don't show off your side, pretty much just like the Cesare, and you won't get blapped. Keep bow in. Ship's nice and agile and maneuverable for, of course, a battleship. The turrets have an amazing turret rotation time, and now, by the way, you can get her turret rotation time down to 25 seconds. And that, I believe, is without... Yes, I do not have the rotation module on here. So if I were to throw in the turret rotation module... Let's see real quick. I'm just import. So if I put the turret rotation module on here, her turrets now have a 21-second 180 time, which is absolutely ridiculous. So, yeah. I don't know why you want turrets that fast, but hey, if you want to, you can get turrets that fast on the Roma. So yeah, she's great for brawling because of those reasons. The fast turrets, the good armor, the speed, and the concealment. But of course, she doesn't have, like, you know, of course, turtleback armor. She can't get blapped if you get lit or get hit from the side. But if you know what you're doing, you can tank a lot of damage in the Roma. So, how's she doing today? Well, ladies and gentlemen, as I'm sure you've heard, I'm a little late to this party, but you guys want me to cover it, so I am. Deadeye fixes Roma. It does. I mean, it takes its dispersion, and this is how bad Roma's dispersion is. It takes its old dispersion and makes it into just normal battleship dispersion, to where the shells aren't all lining up perfectly like we're seeing with, you know, some of the other high-tier battleships, but it just has a normal battleship dispersion now, which means it actually hits what you're aiming at now, to where you can aim for those juicy spots on the ship, or actually just aim at the ship and just freaking hit it. Because before, 2/3 of the shells would go in the water, you'd have one shell like nick the ship. So it's wow, it's really a testament to how crazy Deadeye is, that it takes the Roma and makes it just a normal battleship. So obviously right now the Roma's a blast to play, and honestly, even after, because I know that, well, I can't say I know they're going to nerf Deadeye because I don't know 100% for sure if they are going to nerf Deadeye. There's going to be some changes made to Deadeye because the skill is simply too good right now. We've talked about that plenty enough last week. I won't go too much into depth on that. But if it gets nerfed, or however it gets nerfed, even if it does get nerfed, unless it just gets nerfed into the ground, I would still keep Deadeye on Roma. Because with that great concealment and just normal battleship dispersion, you're encouraged to push in, because you have that great concealment. You can get close, you get to within 11.8 kilometers of a ship and still get Deadeye. But it's not the crazy Deadeye like we've seen with, of course, Slava and Kremlin and all the other higher tier battleships, or like Yami, freaking Yami, Unique Upgrade, aiming systems, Deadeye Yami's freaking insane. But it's not like that great. It just turns it into a normal battleship. So now you can push in with confidence, knowing, you know, as long as they don't get spotted, or if anyone gets in my spotting range, or heck, if anyone gets within your spotting range, just the old Roma dispersion is just fine then too, because that's close enough to where, again, unless RNG hates you, your shells are going to hit. And the match you're watching right now, I think this was should be the tier 8 match. I had 3 tier 10 matches, and then I had this tier 8 match, and in all these matches I did well over 100,000 damage, which is really, really, really good for me in Roma, at least, because its dispersion is just so low that, you know, I would maybe do like 90, 100-ish thousand damage, but to have 4 games back to back where I did well over 110, 120,000 damage in Roma, that's pretty darn good. And the thing is, too, it was in tier 10 games, it was in tier 8 games, it was in, you know, I was top tier in tier 6 games. It was consistent performance out of the Roma, which I'd never seen before, because some matches in Roma, you know, especially recently, nobody gets close enough to where you can really engage them from point-blank range and really make use of your guns. Or sometimes the enemy team just didn't have those chunky ships on their team to where you could, even at range, hit them and at least be chunking them for a good bit of damage. But now with Roma, the guns are connecting consistently to where, you know, I'm getting hits all game, and then when I do get those chunkers that are out there that you can really slap with the Roma's AP, hey, you actually hit them now and chunk them for like freaking 22,000 damage. It's great, and it's, wow, it's fun again. It's weird. And Roma's a very special ship to me, because this is the first ship I ever reviewed on this channel, and it helped me develop the review system that I have, the first impressions review followed by the second impressions review. Because the first impressions review, I had just, you know, like 3 or 4 great games in Roma, to where I was like, yeah, it's worth it. But then, you know, after playing it for about 20 or 30 more games, I realized, oh, hold up, the dispersion on this thing isn't really that great, and I just got lucky for those first couple of games that I had in the ship, and then, you know, I had to do the second impressions review to do an update, and I developed that review in progress type of style. So it's a very special ship to me, and it's really nice now to see that it's working, and it is really bittersweet that you have to have a crazy skill like Deadeye on it to really get it to work in modern World of Warships. So is it worth buying now? I cannot say 100% for sure because we don't know what's going to happen with Deadeye. That's also why I'm holding back on doing some reviews that I want to do right now because of the commander skill system. I'll probably get around to doing them here in a couple of weeks, but I just want to wait and see what's going to happen with the commander skills. And so far, Working hasn't really said anything, and it is still early in the game, so I'm sure they're still collecting data and constructing a spreadsheet and such. However, even if Deadeye does get changed, it certainly won't get removed. I don't think for a second that it will, and it would still probably be worth it to keep it on Roma, unless there's again some terrible downside or they nerf it into the dirt. But Roma is, of course, her value is going to go up here very soon because Italian battleships are coming out. And right now, you can use Roma to train your Italian battleship commander and maybe get him near the 21-point goal by the time the Italian battleships get here. I doubt you could really do that because that's like, whew, man, that's a lot of XP. Unless you have the Cesare, in which case you already have an Italian battleship trainer. But if you want a high tier one and maybe earn some XP a little bit faster, sure. Oh, you can also get the what I like to call the beer can camo for the Roma. It's the, I don't even know what its proper name is. It is the, God, how do you say that guy's name? The Makoto Kobayashi. Oh, that's not that bad. The Kobayashi camo for Roma. With this camo on Roma, Roma rivals the Missouri for its economy. So if you want like power grind commander XP or just XP in general, get the Kobayashi camo, slap it on Roma, and just go to town, especially with Deadeye now. So you could do this. However, the camo does cost 7,000 doubloons. So it's a pretty expensive tier 8 camouflage there, so just be aware of that. But, if you really want that, Roma's probably a pretty solid choice right now. But again, I would hesitate to buy it if I didn't have it because of the uncertainty of the commander rework. Alright guys, so that's Roma in modern World of Warships. Pretty good all-around ship. Again, I love everything about the hull on the ship. The guns now with Deadeye are actually just freaking workable. So again, that still blows my mind that Deadeye is that good to where it just fixes Roma. But anyway guys, that's what I think about Roma and modern World of Warships. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 25,000 subs, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Thank you guys again for watching. Hope to catch you guys in the next one.